Hi, my name's Charlotte Gray. I'm a veterinary surgeon working in East Sussex, and I'm also a BOAS assessor for the Cambridge University and Kennel Club Respiratory Function Grading Scheme. BOAS is a brachycephalic airway obstruction syndrome, and it's a condition that affects dogs generally with short faces. So the English Bulldogs, the French Bulldogs and the Pugs are the breeds that we work with most at the minute. It affects the dog quite substantially if it is severe. So some dogs will have trouble breathing when they're exercising, but some of the more severely affected will even have trouble breathing when they're at rest or even when they're asleep. And you'll find some Bulldogs and Frenchies that will sleep with a ball in their mouth to help them breathe when they're asleep. Obviously for the owner that's distressing in itself, but on top of that, many owners with these dogs at the moment are finding they're having to pay fairly decent vet bills in order to open up the airways of those dogs so they can just breathe normally. The RFG scheme is a non-invasive test. During an RFG assessment, your vet will first take some details from you, including your kennel club information, and then we will have a listen to the dog at rest, so when they're calm. So we listen over the throat as well as listening to them out loud. You'll then have to go for a little 3-minute jog, and either you can do that or sometimes there'll be a vet or a nurse that can do that for you. The dog is just trotting, so we're not looking for a sprint. And after 3 minutes, which is usually timed on a watch or similar, we have a listen over the larynx straight away, so over the throat just there. And the score is dependent primarily on the amount of noise we can hear over the throat after exercise. The nasal noise is considered, but actually that is not the main basis of the score. So I became an RFG assessor working with the Kennel Club so that I could assess the dog's breathing to allow us to help select the dogs that breathe better to help us to improve the genetics of those breeds, so the Frenchies, the Pugs and the Bulldogs, maybe some other breeds in the future. And it seems to be working quite well. I did it because I like the breed and I realised that the alternative is that we start to lose the breed, and I think it would be better for us, because we know what nice characters they are, to keep the breed but to help improve the diseases that are affecting them. I became a BOAS assessor after getting an email from the Kennel Club offering to train, and I attended a course that was a day long with Jane Ladlow, learning how to assess dogs and practicing with lots of attending French Bulldogs, English and Pugs. And every year since then we attend an update, which just helps us to keep up to date with changes in the assessment scheme. The RFG scheme is important for breeders and for owners of pet dogs. We know that there is genetic basis to the inheritance of the BOAS conditions, and for that reason, if we select the dogs that are less affected in breeding, we are less likely to have affected litters. But for pet dogs, it's also important to consider using RFG scoring to allow you to decide whether or not a dog needs surgery. There are certainly some dogs who do not make a huge amount of external noise who may still be struggling to breathe, and the reverse is also true, that sometimes, especially with the French Bulldogs, you'll find there's a lot of snorting, which is nasal, and they may actually be breathing all right. So it helps us to determine whether surgery is reasonable or whether in fact it is not necessary. If you're going to buy a puppy that is a French Bulldog, an English Bulldog or a Pug, it's important that you ask the breeder whether or not they've had respiratory grading done on the parents. This will help you to know whether or not your puppy will be affected by BOAS, and it shows that the breeder is working towards improvement of the breed overall. So if you're looking to buy a French Bulldog, English Bulldog or Pug, if you're a breeder or if you already own one of these dogs, you should have a look on the Kennel Club website and you'll be able to find a list of local assessors who can help you have your dog's breathing assessed.